There are two types of compound inequalities. There are what we call and inequalities, and there are what we call or inequalities. All right? So what this means is it sets it up for us, and when we graph, looks something like this, and maybe there's one of them, it doesn't matter, they could be filled or open, but it tells us a set of numbers that lies between two values. Okay, so if this was, let's say that, come on, pen. Let's say this was 5 and this was 2. Okay, compound inequality says that this means that 2 is less than or equal to, because it's bubbled in, x, which is also less than 5. It sandwiches it between two values. Whereas or, if I took this same number line and my inequalities go the other way, I call these chicken wings. They look like chicken wings when you graph them. Okay. Tough crowd this morning, tough crowd this morning. The difference here is this inequality looks, it's two separate inequalities, okay? All right, so here's an and versus an or. We're going to talk about how we solve and graph each one, but just as an introduction, I want you to kind of see what they look like on a number line. So if I told you that, it will. Did she? Yeah. I don't think she had compound inequalities on there.
No, she has like.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Let's say I had, that's for third block. 30 copies. It's packets of review. All right. Take a look here. Is this an and or an or?
And.
It's an and, okay? And sandwiches between two values, all right? The x is in the middle. The signs always face this way. They're always less than signs. So you always start, this is always your smallest number and your biggest number. If you had to graph this, tell me what I would do. 2 on this side, 7 on this side. Open or closed on -2? Open. Open or closed on 7? Closed. Does everybody see why? This one and this one. Yeah? And because it's and, you shade in the middle. Just like to me, the inequality looks that way. It looks like it's sandwiched between two things, so that's the way I shade. Okay? So if I told you you had between -2 and $7, that means you could have $0. You could have $5. You could have, so anything in the middle here would satisfy that inequality. Does that make sense? What if I asked you to graph? Y'all got that one? X is less than 0 or x is greater than 12. This is two separate inequalities joined by an or. This is a chicken wing problem. Okay? So if I'm on my number line, I need a 0 and a 12, and you graph each one separately but on the same number line. Okay? So x is less than 0, open or closed? Open, left or right? To the left. How about on 12? Open, left or right? Right. Does that make sense on just graphing them? Yes, Makai. So I need to show you how to actually solve them. So we're going to solve and graph the same way. Just remember to put that back, please. The same way that we've been doing, okay? So, let's first look at ands. If I need to solve this, here's the difference, guys. When I look at ands, I still solve for x. Okay? But you know how when we have an inequality, if we do it to one side, we have to do it to the other? Here, what we do to the middle, because that's where my x is. We have to do to both sides of an and inequality. I'll give you a second to catch up with me, and then we'll do this one. How do I get x by itself? Right now, guys, what is to x? Sorry. The 5. How do I get rid of 5 here? Subtract 5. Now, here's the thing. Well, when you do it to the middle, then you have to do it to the left and to the right. Okay, 2 signs means I have to do it 2 more places instead of just 1 more. All right, your goal is that in the middle you only have an x. All right, it's gone here. Do we agree? Yes. All right, what is 2 minus 5? Less than x. This is gone. What is 9 minus 5? 4. So when we graph this, 1 point at -3 and 1 point at 4, yes? Okay. I think it's 'cause it's moving fine on mine, but I'm hooked up wirelessly today. I think that's why. All right, open or closed? Open, why? There's no line under it. Open or closed here? Chicken wing or in the middle? In the middle. All ands like this, that's right. When it looks like this, and they're sandwiched between, the x is sandwiched between 2 numbers like that, it's in the middle. See how the x is in between 2 numbers? Then it's shaded in the middle. Let's do another. You know if it's to make it a little bit harder. Man, what? All right. So that was a great question, Makai, and the answer is yes. Yes, if you divide by the negative, you still flip the sign. All right, look at this one. Oh, Lord. If I solve this, remember I solve SAD map. Always SAD map is how I solve. So looking just at the middle right now, what's the first thing I need to get rid of?
Subtract 4 both sides.
Subtract 4, right. But if I do it here, oh, Lordy, I got to do it here and here, right? I'll get to that in a minute. I'll handle that next. I'll do the addition subtraction first, and then I'll do the multiplication division. All right, left side. What is 10 minus 4? 6. The 4's gone, right? What is 24 minus 4? 20. Is everybody clear at this point? All right. X is still not by itself. It's still not solved. That's exactly right. Hooked to the x right now is a 2 that's being multiplied. So the opposite would be to divide. And if I divide in the middle, I divide all of them. Okay? It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy. All right, 6 divided by 2 is 3. What's in the middle now? X. That's why I did that, right? I did that to isolate the X, to get it by itself. What is 20 divided by 2? 10.
Oh, so then you graph it.
No, I graph it. Ands are the easiest to graph, I think. I think because they look like the inequality. The inequality looks like a sandwich between two numbers, and that's the way this is. Just make sure you're starting with the smallest number up to the biggest. Are they open or are they closed?
Yeah, it's closed.
They're closed because there's a line under them. And put it in the middle. Easy peasy. I was waiting on somebody to do it. Only when you divide by a negative.
This is something because I don't want to go to that.
Una más. Oh no, we haven't even done ors. Una más, una más.
What's that?
That means one more.
Why is it taking 10 on this phone?
It's not cold.
I wear a long sleeve and an underwear, and I'm not.
Nobody asked you. We don't make a lesson.
Guys, be nice. Look at this one.
We always be nice. I'm nice.
No, y'all don't.
Is this good? Shut up.
This is still an and. This is one that's going to be a little bit different. All right. Be nice. Santa Claus watching you.
Okay.
All right. Let's. Tell me what is the first thing I need to do. Plus 3. Everybody agrees it's plus 3. But it's plus 3 here, here, here. It's plus 3 everywhere. Everywhere. All right, look at the left. What is negative 5? Zaya, what's negative 5 plus 3? 3's gone in the middle. What is 2 and 3? 5. Now, this one's different. And y'all have had multiple problems like this. There's a negative in front of the x. Tell me what that means. Put a 1. And then what? I have to... There wasn't a number in front, but there was a negative. So remember, I can always put a 1 in front.
Even if it's not negative?
Even if it's not negative, you can put a 1, yeah, if it's just x. But here, I have to get rid of that negative. I can't leave it with a negative on it like that. Close. What's it being done to x right now? Multiplied. So you divide by negative 1, okay? Now watch what happens. Because this is the scenario that Makai was talking about. And this is the kind of scenario that they're going to put on EOC. And they're going to give you options for the signs going the wrong way, okay? So you got to be very, very, very careful. Both of them are going to flip because I'm dividing by... Dividing by a negative means flip those signs. Okay? Multiplied also. If you multiply... or divide. Okay. Oh my gosh!
You can divide or divide.
You can, or you can even divide. Or maybe you decide to divide, in which case.
In which case, divide.
Okay. Look at the left. Negative 2 divided by negative 1 is positive 2. This flips, okay?
Yeah. That's just it.
Shh, girls. Now, it looks different than my other, okay? Because the signs are going the wrong way. Remember how when the X was written on the wrong side, we had to flip some things around? When you... I divided by negative 1.
It's cold.
All right, y'all focus, y'all focus, y'all focus. When you write an and inequality, okay? Remember I told you both signs are less than? And that you always write the smallest number first then the less than sign, and then the biggest number, right? That's not the way it is right now, so I need to rearrange it a little bit. If I rearrange it, what's it gonna look like? -5. Remember what I told you when you're rearranging it? At the end of the day, whatever the alligator mouth was eating, it still must continue to eat it. Okay? So it's got to be eating the 2, and it is. And then it's got to be eating the x but pointing to the -5, and it is. Okay? It's got to go from smallest to biggest and both be less than signs. Because now I'm going to graph it. And the only time that a situation like that is going to arise is when you have to multiply or divide by a negative number. Probably about the only time. All right. Now, -5 is smaller, so it comes first. 2 is bigger, it comes second. Open, closed, or one of each? They close. Both of them are closed. If one is open, one is closed. I was just asking, are they open or closed? All right. In between. Yes or no? All right, let's move on to or then. I'll give you a second to catch up. That's and. If it's in the middle, it's and. Okay? If it's scrunched in the middle, if there's 2 signs like that and it's all one piece, it's and. Ors are actually going to have the word or in them. Okay? All right. Everybody recording again. All right, or inequalities. So, Zamora asked you a good question. She said, how do you know if it's and or or? If it's or, it's going to actually have the word or in it. It's going to look like this. 2x plus 3 is less than 9. Or 3x minus 6 is greater than 12. Okay? See the word or? That's how I know it's an or. So for ors, they're easier than ands. You solve each one. What is going on? Solve each one individually. Don't even look at the other one as you solve the first one and vice versa. Okay? Look at the first inequality. I'm gonna solve it by itself. Okay, so I'm gonna subtract 3 from both sides. You're exactly right. Don't come over here to this one. Remember, with and we have to do the whole thing at one time, but with ors,
Yes, I did. I forgot.
I'll refresh. Guys, the 3 is gone. What's 9 minus 3? 6. Cameron, ask me again, do I have to do what?
You got to divide the 2 of both sides.
From the second one? No. You look at them completely independent of each other. Think of them as 2 separate problems. Okay? So this is what we were doing yesterday and the day before. All right, so now what do I do?
Subtract 2 of both sides.
Ooh, Zaya. Yes. Don't why? It's not negative. All right, so x is less than. All right, let's look at the second one. Wait, step by step. Oh, dear. All right, what do I do first on the second inequality?
Plus 6 on both sides.
Plus 6 on both sides. 3x. What's 12 plus 6? 18. Now I need to divide both by 3.
Good job, guys.
Now remember, I've got this big or in the middle, which means they're going off in opposite directions, right? Chicken wings. Chicken wings, chicken wings. Open or closed? Open or closed? Both open. All right, look, x is less than 3, less than to the left, greater than to the right.
So that's the answer.
That's the answer.
So much work. I like the answer.